Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Mister, will you please wake up?
And they give those guys a little extra weight. Roger Craig still on his feet, still running. What a run by Roger Craig. You'll never see a better one than that. From 46 yards. He has that thing of getting those knees high and keeping the shoulders low. And he makes every team look like they're bad tacklers. Watch the way he gets that high knee action, keeps those feet going like two pistons. Then, at the same time that the knees are going high and keeping going, the shoulder can get low to take on a tackler.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
It is a terrific Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. The voice you hear is Cole Johnson. The other man and the founder of Snowman in the Morning is convalescing. Well, I'll talk a little bit about him a little later. But I am joined with my colleague again. I know him as Will, but I think the rest of the world know him as Wise El Jefe.
What's going on, Cole?
Doing good, man. Doing good. It's like what Six said that yesterday. You look like a clone of MVP.
and MVP actually came back yesterday on the Monday night after Wrestlemania, but
yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later. We definitely will talk about that later. Yeah, we'll touch on the Raw at the Wrestlemania and a little bit on Wrestlemania as well. We will also dig deep into. We're now 1 week away from the play-in round of the NBA, and how a lot of things seem to be all wacky in terms of how people think about the process and who's going to make it and who's going to go where and how far. Of course, baseball is now 2 days away from beginning. Yes, opening day is Thursday. And then there is other material that we'll talk about. But we will start this morning with the men's national champion,
Kansas. Congratulations. Wow. Yeah, congratulations to Bill Self in Kansas. It was a great game. It came back. They came back. You can see that the UNC was up and Kansas came back and won it.
I have to give Kansas credit. And yes, I definitely tip my cap to Bill Self. Coming back from a 15-point deficit, they said that this was the largest deficit of any national championship winner in the national championship game that they came back from beyond 11 points at halftime. So they were down 15. They came back, and now Rock Chalk Jayhawk, they are now your new men's national champion, and they share the throne with the women's national champion South Carolina. I have to admit this. I did not see Kansas doing this. I really did not. I got to really, really be honest with you. I was not impressed with them in the regular season. I was not impressed with them in the tournament. Yes, I know they won the regular season, Big 12. They won the conference championship too. I just wasn't impressed with them. And I really wasn't all that impressed with them throughout the run in March Madness until they got to New Orleans. And I think that's when I started to say, well, they might actually have something when they really took care of Villanova Saturday. Your thoughts?
It's listen, because all year you've heard just certain teams. You only hear about Gonzaga, Duke, whoever. You never really heard about Kansas. They do it here and there, but they weren't the team everybody was choosing. So yeah. When they came in, listen, they like you said, they won the Big 12, they won the tournament, and they did it quietly. It wasn't like, oh, Kansas dominated the Big 12 or the Kansas dominated their tournament.
Right.
But when they came into that's why it's called March Madness.
Yeah. That's why it's called March Madness. Now, I will cop. So I watched their home game against Texas, and of course it went overtime. The reason why I can remember it was because Kansas supposedly hit a game winner at the end of regulation, but the shot left the shooter's hands right after the buzzer sounded, And the conversation around that was, they're supposed to be a top 10 ranked team, but they're struggling against teams that are barely top 25. That just doesn't bode well for them. And so I basically just set them to the side, forgot about them. I was like, okay, well, they'll probably be bouncing the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite 8. I don't think I'll hear much from them. It'll be just like every other Kansas team that I can remember in recent memory. They're hyped up big, and then somebody who actually is hungrier than they are will knock them off. Not this year.
They were the hungrier team. Like you said, they came back from 15 down.
Yeah.
And again, tip my hats off to Kansas, and it was a great game.
Yeah. Now I know I have to console you a little bit because I know the head coach of North Carolina is your man.
It's all good, man. It's all... Listen, that's what they play the game for, man.
I feel you.
That's why I love sports, though. Is you never know who's gonna win.
Yeah.
The teams make some prize runs and take it all.
I'll always say this about sports. And of course, I think you and I are around the same age or around same age group.
Yeah.
When the rise of reality TV came to being, I was like, okay, this is sort of cool and it's understandable that people would gravitate to that type of entertainment because it's different than something scripted, although much of reality TV is also scripted.
Yes. So it's not really, is it really reality TV?
Right. But I've always said that sports is the ultimate reality television show because it is not scripted for the most part.
Yeah, we can't. Well, that's for another subject. There you.
Oh, most certainly. I'm not gonna rain on the parade of both North Carolina and Kansas. Although the internet already went ham on North Carolina. Before I was doing a little research for today's show, and before I got started, so I fired everything up. I'm like, okay, all right, what's happened? What's on tap? And so I saw that Kansas came back and they beat North Carolina last night in New Orleans. And then on Facebook, I stumbled upon, I still can't believe this. So it was a sky blue backdrop with the dark blue and white colored Falcons insignia. I was like, oh, that's cold. And of course, for those who are uninitiated, it's sort of a slap and an ode at the same time to the 2016 Falcons for blowing the 28-3 lead against the Patriots. I'm like, really? We're gonna get down like this already? It's not that game. The game's result wasn't at the time when I saw it. Wasn't even 6 hours old. We're coming like this already. But no, seriously. Tip of the cap to those young men in North Carolina. Tip of the cap also to those young men in Kansas. This is their first championship in 13 years, since the Mario Chalmers days. I'm sorry, since the Mario Chalmers that wasn't getting chewed out by LeBron James days. My bad. But yes, congratulations to them. I really am proud of them. And Bill Self, who was about to get that work, because people are about to say, well, look at this. This guy has this wonderful team, a wonderful talent. And he's basically it's like how Coach Calipari of Kentucky has been, with these great talent and great players, but they don't get anything and they don't win any hardware. So you have to put that off and actually say, well, hey, Bill Self, congrats.
Yeah, definitely got to tip your hat off, man. Congrats to Bill Self. And Kansas, and again, UNC, nobody expected them to be here either. So
no, I most certainly didn't. I most certainly did not. And I expected them to actually, when I saw how they were going, I think by the time they got to the Elite Eight and they played St. Peter's, and they actually decided to show that, well, they actually are a big dog. I said, oh, okay, I think they actually might be able to pull this off. And they were half away. So, well, what can you say? All right. So let's switch the NBA real quick. And where should I begin? All right. So yesterday I was looking at a lot of footage, a lot of commentary, a lot of analysis, and this one thing came across my eyes and across my ears. Caesars Sportsbook, or Las Vegas, basically, still has the Brooklyn Nets as the favorites to come. Now it's to come out the East. Now they have lowered it to the East because for the longest time it was they had them be the odds-on favorites to win the whole thing. But now they still are the odds-on favorites to come out of the East. The Suns are the odds-on favorites to win it all.
And listen, I'm a Brooklyn boy, born and raised, but I am a diehard Knicks fan, and the misfortunes that have fallen upon Brooklyn, I can't say I feel sorry for them. I really can't. It might be a little bit the hype because they had the big three and couldn't do nothing with the big three. Like, okay, you got this big three, but nothing's happened since you signed these players, since you gotten these players. All you've done is spend more time talking about flat earth and unvaccinated players, and so I don't really feel sorry for them, but I don't know how the hell you make them odds-on favorites, man. You have a team like Miami, Miami, a team,
right.
Keyword team,
right,
and you have another team in Boston,
right,
keyword Boston team,
team,
not. I'm only gonna play road games, but now because the mayor. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Oh my gosh!
I'm a Knicks. Listen, and I'm a Brooklyn boy. And And a lot of people who have jumped ship but I love my Knicks. And I don't care. We suck. Yes, we've had our struggles. I'm saying, but I'm a ride or die. That's what people need to realize. I'm a ride or die, and so yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know how they're favorites. I don't care about Brooklyn so much. So,
oh my gosh! There's some gold to mine with that. but let me say hello to the peeps out there. Sick as always, man. Love you as always. Good morning, man. Good morning, bro. And Latin A, Pro Constitution American Peritus, good morning to you as well. Sick says, as far as the next prediction goes, what are these fools smoking or drinking? Yes, I agree with you.
I don't know, Sick, and I would love to get some of that.
Yes, I would. I most certainly would. And he also said that the Nets are a bigger disaster than Hurricane Sandy.
Yes, and it was horrible in New York, man. Sandy devastated New York, and now that the Nets are just like.
Oh man, okay, I hit a sweet spot. It looks like. All right, so we are live on YouTube. If you want to interact like Sick, like Latin A, all you have to do is just go to youtube.com and type in Snowman in the Morning 50. That's Snowman in the Morning 50, and you can be just like Sick, just like Latin A, get into the conversation, and let's have some fun because that's what we do around here. Now, you introduced a topic to me in terms of you were a Brooklyn-born guy who was a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
And last decade, we had the Nets move into your borough.
Yes.
And it makes me think of Spike Lee, who he's proud of two things.
And
Brooklyn,
the Knicks.
And the Knicks. Because I mean, movie making, he may be proud of that too. But I would dare say, I think even the art of cinema, the art of cinematography would pale in comparison to him than his love of Brooklyn and his love of the Knicks. And I remember, I think somebody asked him, well, since the Nets are now in Brooklyn, would you, and before the question could get out of that man's mouth. He's like, nope, I will always be a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
So, all right. Talk to me about how your love of the Knicks just runs so deep that even with how they can
Screw stuff up,
how they can be so disappointing at times, you still roll and rock with them.
It's like I said, I'm ride or die, man. I grew up. This is the team I grew up watching. Like Ewing, Starks, Mason, Grandmama, or Allen Houston, Spreewell. They made me love this team, especially the '99 run with Canby in the middle, Spreewell, Houston. Nobody thought they had a shot, even though they were going up against the Spurs and the two future Hall of Famers. But that team, that '90s team was New York City, man.
Yeah,
they were blue collar and everybody. When they think of New York City, they always want to think about the glitz and the glamour. But New York City is a blue collar city, man. The outer boroughs, Staten Island. You have a lot of people that work hard and so that team represented the city.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think people miss about New York. And look, I never lived in the city. I've visited many times. I have an aunt who actually lives a stone's throw from the Apollo Theater, she's about 2 blocks from it.
Yeah.
And that's the feel I get. It's people think that all of New York is basically just the lower southern southern portion of the Manhattan Island. They think New York is all Times Square and Wall Street, and that's it.
Nah.
And I mean, you're right. It's a lot more blue collar than people think. And I always wonder how I could gravitate toward New Yorkers, and I'm from Houston. I always wonder how I could gravitate toward New Yorkers so quickly, and I think that's the reason why. Because I had to learn that they're not like how I've run into many from LA, and I have a few LA friends too.
Yeah.
LA is a little more laid back, and they do sort of embrace a little more the white collar ish ethos. I'm sorry, of the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always wondered why I really liked being around New Yorkers and how I can quickly bond with them. And it's because, Houston is very blue collar too, and that was the connection. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me now that I hear someone like you who actually lives in the area. It's like, yeah, it's a blue collar town. It really is.
Yeah. Listen, you got the people who drive the buses, drive the trains, that do the little things around the city. Then you have small business owners, like in the outer boroughs. Like Sig said, man, it's not only Manhattan. People forget we have other boroughs. Like you have the Bronx, you have Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, and a whole bunch of other things. So and in those boroughs, you have like I said, hardworking families and people.
Yeah. And I think it took it sort of is I think it took the world of hip hop for us to understand that. You have a lot of these boroughs, Brooklyn, I mean, with, of course, you can just go on with Jay-Z and Big Daddy Kane, and Bronx with, of course, the birth of hip hop and Herc and Grandmaster Flash and so forth and so on. And of course, KRS-One, one of my favorite MCs. Queens with LL and Run DMC, and then Staten Island, Wu-Tang. And all of them talked about how it was in their area. And for the most part, it was blue collar and gritty. And it wasn't the white collar feel that many people try to think it is. It's not the Park Avenue and the Madison Avenue, and it's not it's not how MSG is.
No.
It's not those types of areas. It's mostly the other areas that all these guys talk about. It's like, oh, So that's how it is.
Yeah.
And then and then you get these b-ball cats who just embrace that. And it's like, okay, now I get why New York is the way it is and why people think New York is the big thing. Is that it's such a melting pot for a lot of things.
Yeah, it is. And growing up in a city like that, where you grow up with so many different people from so many different backgrounds from all over the world, it's like you meet people, like I said, from every island in the Caribbean, anywhere in Europe, India, all over. And so that's why growing up, for me, it was like I had friends all races. So to me, I didn't really think about racism and anything like that, because it was such a big melting pot. It was just you had friends of all nationalities.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful part about that city, is that you do see that. Unfortunately, you do see the racism in that city too.
But I'm just saying, but
yeah.
I grew up. I can't really say I've ever really experienced racism. Maybe a couple incidents and stuff like that. But growing up where I grew up at, it was a big melting pot. Everybody, for the most part, lived their life, just got along.
Yeah. And as Sick said, in East Borough, you've got various neighborhoods and communities. It's pretty diverse. Yeah, you're right, Sick. It is. It just in the limited time that I've been there, you're exactly right. And he goes on to say it's the UN and NYC is headquarters of the UN. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh man, look, I could talk about all things of my fascination in New York until we're all blue in the face. But we're gonna do a reset. We're gonna take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to deal with a little bit of the NFL. I want to get Wise's feel on which trades in this busy off season stuck out, good or bad. I just want to get his thoughts on it. You want to support the show? All you have to do is go on patreon.com/SIT morning, and you will further make this show like, shows such as like The Ringer and shows just like the Pat McAfee show. Just get that energy up, and we will provide the material that you want us to always provide for you. And with that, we shall be right back.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go, babe. I'm never gonna let you go. No, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, for Dr. K, for also the others who are uninitiated, you can go to twitter.com. We're at official SIT Morn. That's how you can reach us there. Also, at official SIT Morn on Instagram as well. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson, the wonderful man that is sitting to my...
Be your left, I think. Yeah, your left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. To my left is not Brian Snow. He is convalescing, and shout out to you, sir. We will talk about you a little later. But no, this wonderful man to my left is Wise El Jefe. And we'll talk about the things that he is into as well, because it's a wonderful friend of Brian. Now he's become a good friend of mine now. And man, I'm enjoying having you be along the ride with me. I really am enjoying this.
Listen, I like I posted on my post, man. This is a lifelong dream come true for me to be able to fill in and do a sports talk radio show or podcast, whatever, man. I love sports, so to be able to do this and be a kid when you're a kid and you dream of moments like this, of you being able to talk sports and people watch you and enjoy it, man, that's awesome. So I'm kind of envious of what you and Brian do.
Well, man, but look, I don't know if you should be envious. I mean, what you do is good too. I got a chance to look at a couple of things that you do. I'm like, oh, he knows what he's doing behind that mic. Okay, I see him. All right,
but and it's crazy because I found this is just to be able to find my voice, because I didn't know this is what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I started doing this 2 years ago, and to be able to do this and grow and have people like Brian and yourself and other people help me, because B's been he's been a major help. He's been very supportive of me, and so I just loved. I show the same love when you connect with people that they have the same mindset and they have the same beliefs, and even though we come from different places,
yeah,
he comes from Chicago, then he was in North Carolina, and I'm Brooklyn boy. I spent some time in Florida. I live in Pennsylvania now.
Mm-hmm.
So so to be able to connect with all different types of people doing the podcast, man, it's been dope.
Yeah, it's cool, man. That's cool. Oh, sick ass this question. Is there any link to the podcast that you do?
Yes, sir. I'll put it in the chat. So I can do it right now.
All right.
Yeah, that's the good thing of doing this from home, right?
Exactly. Most definitely. All right. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Now, the off season of the NFL has been very active. I mean, more active than usual. I mean, we could talk about the re-signings of Aaron Rodgers, the comeback of retirement after he retired 5 weeks before Tom Brady, the lawsuit that Brian Flores, the former Dolphins head coach, now an assistant for the Steelers, filed against NFL that still is ongoing 2 months later. And then there are the trades. And I will run them down as follows. So you had Amari Cooper, who was a Cowboy. Now he is a Brown, and the Cowboys got a 5th and a 6th round pick for him.
Yes.
You have Carson Wentz, who was formerly of the Colts. Now he is a commander. Yes, Commander Cody. I mean, Commander Carson. And a second-round draft pick went with him. The Colts in return got a second and two third-round picks. Matt Ryan, who was the longtime former Browns quarterback. Falcons quarterback. Now he calls Indianapolis home. And the Falcons got a third-round draft pick in return. You have Khalil Mack, who was, of course, formerly of the Raiders, and now formerly of the Bears. Now he is currently with the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to say San Diego so bad it's not even funny. The Bears in return received a second and a third-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And then you have the jaw droppers. Tyreek Hill was a Chief. Now he is a Dolphin. And in return, the Chiefs got a first round, a second round, and two fourth-round draft picks along with a sixth-round draft pick. Devontae Adams, who was a Packer. Now he is a Raider. Longtime Raider fan, as he said. Now he gets to call the Raiders home. Can't really say he gets to call the team home because he's from the Palo Alto area.
Yeah.
But in return, the Packers get a first and a second-round draft pick for him. Okay. The former Seahawks quarterback, Russell Wilson,
is now a Denver Bronco.
He's now a Bronco. A fourth-round draft pick went with him. In return, the Seahawks got Drew Lock. I forget the first name, but the tight end. Drew Lock, Mr. Fant. I forgot his first name.
They got the tight end?
Yeah, they got the tight end.
Oh, man, that's not that bad then.
They also got Harris as well. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round draft picks, and a 5th-round draft pick. And then the trade that basically melted all of the NFL and is still melted to this moment. Deshaun Watson, who has been wanting off the Houston Texans, now is out of Houston, and now he is in Northeast Ohio. So he is now a Brown, and a 6th-round draft pick went with him. And in return, the Texans got 2 4th-round draft picks, 1 3rd-round draft pick, and not 1, not 2, but 3 first-round draft picks. Now, out of all those trades that I just mentioned, which ones stand out to you the most? And it doesn't have to be one; it could be a multitude of them.
Tyreek Hill definitely was a surprise to me. That was a real surprise to me. And I guess when Devontae Adams got his contract, Tyreek was ready to go. He was like, "Oh no, I need you gotta give me Devontae money or trade me."
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to trade him.
When I saw this, when I saw that the rumblings was in the air that the Chiefs were thinking about unloading him, and I hate to say it that way because it's sort of how I feel. I was shocked. But I understood it from the standpoint of I think the Chiefs front office was looking at their team, and I think they looked at this team in this way and in this vein ever since Patrick Mahomes signed on the dotted line his extension, where they said, okay, we will probably be able to keep some of these other talented players, but we may need to send these others packing, and we may need to come to terms with that sooner rather than later. And I think that was a philosophy that they have held because the way they maneuvered so quickly to find a trade partner for Tyreek Hill, it makes me think that that's how they thought long before this happened.
I'm sure they had some type of plan in place for this, but things that to me was just a surprise. You would think I guess you still got Travis Kelce and you sign a couple of other receivers to 1-year prove-it contracts.
Yeah.
And you're hoping one of these drafts, because this draft is deep in wide receivers.
Right.
So you're hoping one of your picks is a receiver that can supplement, is going to be hard to replace Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
But to at least
replace that type of speed.
It's to be able to use all these pieces that you added now and and I guess mold them all into one, use them all as for different versions for what he would do.
And I think that's the road they want to take. I think they want to have multiple wide receivers actually comprise of what Tyreek could do. And I think also, what sort of, in my opinion, I think what made the coaches sign off on this was the fact that what they wanted to do with this offense was to strike downfield and strike downfield and strike downfield. They wanted to have the long ball capabilities, and of course Tyreek Hill provided that for them. It seemed as though last year it took a minute for Patrick Mahomes to realize that teams were saying, you can throw a deep ball you want, we will pick you off. We will not allow you to throw the deep ball. Now, you can throw underneath all you want. You can throw the 10-yard slants and outs and curls and cuts and wheels, but deep routes, goes, posts, no, not happening, not having it. And talking about Hill, he's not going to be the one that's going to get this party started. No, sir. And 2 years ago, his yards per carry, his yards per catch was 17 yards. Last year, it went down to 11. So it seemed as though defenses sort of had the playbook already discovered about how to defend the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill was the ultimate recipient, and I should say the ultimate punishment of how defenses were going to defend the Chiefs offense. And I think the Chiefs were saying to themselves, I think philosophically we may need to change it up and switch up just a little bit. And I'm not sure. And I'm thinking they're not sure that Tyreek would fit in the switch up.
Yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that. But now look at the flip side.
Okay.
Tua doesn't have Mahomes' arms. He doesn't have that arm strength.
No,
Tua is more of a probably more cutting routes and deep and dunk and all that stuff. So he's gonna have to be running across the middle more.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be running that deep stuff for him. So is his body going to be able to take the pounding of having to come across the middle or run shorter routes?
It's either going to be that or I can see exactly where you're going with that, because that was the philosophy of the Dolphins offense coming into this year, to rely on the short passing game. Because they wanted to, do ball control, because they were a defensive strength type of team. They feel so that they can beat you defensively and beat you down defensively, and they'd rather beat you down offensively too. So yeah, I can see how that would be. And then of course Tua, who didn't throw too many deep balls the last couple of years, sort of feeds into that philosophy too. The thought I have is, are they thinking about opening the game up with Tua?
Could be.
Yeah, and that's a good flip side thought, though. I do have to admit that. But I'm thinking they had to take Tyreek thinking, yeah, I think it's time for us to see if we can open up a little bit more of the playbook and try to take our shots downfield too.
And then you also look at it. The head coach that's coming in is coming from San Francisco,
right,
where they use Deebo Samuels not just as a receiver.
Right. But as a running back too. Right.
So can you see him using Tyreek Hill in some similar fashion?
Which actually brings your point even more home, because that offense is ball control too. So yes. That's a really good point. Man, could we see Tyreek in the backfield and not just in reverses? That's a really good question. I really have to say this, the trade to me, that I looked at them and I said, you know what, I'm proud of you guys for actually making this trade and doing it the right way. It's the Mac trade. I did not think that the Chargers was going to receive a talent like that and give up what they gave up. I thought they were going to give up more They ended up giving up less than I thought. And I was impressed with the fact that they got this talent on the team that they need, and if he feels a need, because the Chargers simply could not stop a cold, let alone a running back. They just simply could not stop the run at all. And they couldn't get off a pass rush because the front line had to think about run stopping. And of course, that takes Nick Bosa out of his element, which he wants to run. I mean, wants to pass rush.
Yeah.
So, that's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to try to fill up holes or fill up gaps because, well, I can't do both. And they didn't have anybody who could be a run stopper where you can actually have the pass rushers think all of, let me get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Now they have that with Mac, who can actually rush the quarterback too, but I believe this was a move more to diversify the front seven. And I thought that was a great move for them. And the Bears did not get, I believe, what they really needed to get in return for Mac. I'm still shocked. That they only received the second and third for him.
Well, you got to think about it. What is he, 31 years old now?
Yeah,
right.
That's about right.
So you're still getting a great player, but you're getting him more on the tail end, going towards the tail end of his career. He's probably got like a good 4 or 5 years good left in him. He's 31 years old.
Yeah.
So to be able to get a talent like that to help you free up Nick Bosa, because now, like you said, now you have someone to fill up the gaps.
Yeah.
Because he can still fill up the gaps.
Right.
Even though he was in Chicago and they've been going through whatever they were going through the last couple of years, their defense was still pretty good. And he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
So for me, that was another surprise trade. I didn't think that would happen, especially after what they gave up to get him from the Raiders.
Right.
And then not to get nothing really back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what shocked me. I'm like, wow, you all gave up a lot to get him and you didn't get a lot when you got rid of him. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tip of the cap to the BS3 network. Ben, good morning to you, sir. I love that network. Love the guy too. Love all of his programming, both the ones he mans on the mic and the ones that he helps bring forth coverage to us all, including this one. Another trade that I think I was pleased in seeing both teams get what they really needed. Was the Broncos Seahawks trade. Let's be candid. Russell Wilson wanted out of Seattle probably a year, maybe 2 after the LOB was over. LOB meaning Legion of Boom.
Legion of Boom, yep.
I think he's been dissatisfied for many years, and it was more and more the weight of the team's success was on his shoulders, and I think the weight got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think he felt as though he was not getting the support that he needed to continue onward the trajectory of success that they started early last decade, and it culminated in the middle part of the decade. I have to say this about the Broncos. The one thing that the general manager of the team, John Elway, will do is he will scour the earth for a quarterback who is talented and in his twilight. Drafting him, he's not so good at doing, but finding that free agent that wants to win with a team that probably is built to win everywhere else but at quarterback, he seems to be good at that.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks decided to say, this is a good talent that's leaving. We need to have talent to fill our coffers too, and we want to get fair value. So I had to tip the cap to both teams because I think both won in that trade, in my opinion.
Well, you get a up and coming weapon with Font at tight end.
Oh gosh, yes.
He's an Iowa boy. He's an Iowa product, and you know how their tight ends are.
Yes.
They have two of them right now that are two of the top in the league, Font being one, and the kid in Detroit being the other.
Right.
And then you also have Kittles also from San Francisco. So this is a program that you know that has developed some great tight ends. And so to have him now for whoever's your quarterback in Seattle with DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And hopefully that line gets situated and you get a running game going. Whatever quarterback is going into that system it's got some good options. It's got some good weapons there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think the Seahawks are now I think they now are embracing the rebuilding. I think for a long time they didn't want to embrace it, but now they are, of course, seeing Wilson gone, and of course now seeing Bobby Wagner gone. Now he's signed with the Rams. It seems like they're embracing the rebuild, and it looks like they're off to a good start in their rebuild. It looks like it's not going to be as big of a road for them to build back from, because that is a big loss in Russell Wilson. There's not any question about that.
You can't listen. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's been doing it for years. It's not like he's only had just 1 year. He's been doing it for years. He's been consistent. So why not take that risk? Like now for Seattle, do you think where do they go? Do you think they go out and sign a free agent? Do you draft a quarterback?
That's a good question. That is a good question.
Because Drew Lock is not the answer. Let's get that straight. Drew Lock is a placeholder right now.
Right.
He is not the answer.
No.
So what do you go out step out the box and hey, Kaepernick, what's up? Do you do that?
Sick asked the question. Is a question is how much is he matured as a vet?
He's talking about Mack. I think he's talking about Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If he's talking about Khalil Mack, I think he's matured. But I don't think the tread is so worn on the tire that he's not being able to do anything. And as for your point about Drew Lock, yes, placeholder for real. He definitely is not the answer. And I think the Seahawks know that. So I could see them possibly looking for a quarterback in this draft, although I know this draft is quarterback thin.
Yeah, it's very thin.
And although I don't think they really need a wide receiver, they actually might try to look for one in this draft, which, okay. But I would say for them, it has to be offensive line. I mean, they have to go there first, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they just start there, try to build a strong running game, and then along with it, try to build a defensive line to try to stop the running game. That is how I would do it. But who knows? Who knows how the Seahawks are going to go? But now I can see that they are embracing the rebuild. And speaking of embracing the rebuild, I think finally the Texans have embraced the rebuild, because they wanted to shame Deshaun Watson to stay in Houston. That's not happening. And I'm saying this from a compassionate place in my heart.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah. They are an absolute straight up god awful dumpster fire. And Deshaun, I hate to see him leave, but I think it's good that he's leaving. The Browns. Let me see if I can say this in a really nice way. They're great paper champions. I want to believe in this team, and for the exception of the offensive line, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I have a hard time believing in them. I would love to say Jarvis Landry, but he's not signed with them.
And you add Cooper.
Yeah, and then you have Cooper now, right?
And then you had you go the tight end. So
Yeah.
You have weapons.
Yeah.
And then defensively, you have a pretty solid defense.
See, that's the thing. It's like I know they have the pieces.
They have the talent. Yes, they have the talent.
They have the talent, but but all right, it's all right. So follow my
So,
feel.
but the question is, since the quarterback is the general of that team,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring in Deshaun Watson now, and you minus Baker Mayfield, which to me it's a major upgrade. It's a major win for them in that position to get one of the best quarterbacks in his prime.
And who just entered to his prime. Yeah.
Yes, he's in his prime. Deshaun Watson is in his prime, and his stats. He's putting up some great numbers. It's not like he hasn't put up the stats. Now Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, not so much.
All right, so this is where I am with the Browns. So they're the same team where they can force 4 turnovers off the Ravens, but only manage to score 10 points. They're also the same team that could put up 42 points against the Chargers, but give up 47. And it's like they're frustrating to watch because it's like they have the talent on both ends of the both sides of the line of scrimmage, but it seems as though they just can't put it all together. And yes, hopefully Deshaun is the type that could put it all together. And I'm so thankful that you actually mentioned that he actually can put up the stats, because people forget that the last time he played, he led the league in passing yards and yards per attempt.
Yeah.
People forget that. And plus, if I'm not mistaken, I think he threw for close to 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
No, if you look at his stats, it's up there with the best in the league.
Yeah.
And if you look at the time when he's played, he's put up the numbers.
Mm-hmm. He has.
So
yes. And look, being a Texas fan, it hurt my heart to see him want to go.
Yeah.
But in terms of how the things have gone down, I do not blame him for wanting to go. I'm not going to be like, he's a traitor for wanting to leave. No. I think he saw the hand right on the wall. He saw the dumpster fire that the Texans are, and he wanted to get up out of town. And I can understand that. I hate that he wanted to get out of town, but he did.
Because you got to look at it this way. It's a business, right?
Right.
And just as fast as they'll cut a player, right? Then players need to be like, you know what? Let me get myself out of here, because this place is not where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only right.
Mm-hmm. And then my favorite transaction of the offseason thus far, Randy Riggery signing with the Cowboys, but deciding to say nah, and then went on to sign with the Broncos. I can't tell you how much joy that gives me.
What do you think I feel being a Giants
fan
and hearing that? Like, yeah, he has a deal with Dallas, and wait, no, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to Denver. Like, what? And then you trade one of your best receivers, Cooper. All right.
This is what made that trade messed up to me. It seemed as though they wanted to devalue Amari all throughout last year. It's like they pumped up CeeDee Lamb, they pumped up Lamb, they pumped up Gallup, but they wanted to downplay Cooper, and I'm thinking, you gave up the farm for this guy. So you mean to tell me that you now want to downplay him? That doesn't make sense to me, but this is the Cowboys we're talking about, which doesn't surprise me. 6 says, any player that leaves for a better thing or situation is a smart business. Sport in itself is a business. This is their livelihood at the end of the day. A smart businessman, he said.
Yes.
I totally agree with that. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. And that's why I could separate the business from the fan aspect and with Deshaun and say, well, dang, he has to leave my team. But I had to understand, well, this is a business, and he has to do what's best for his business. So yeah, I agree with you on that, Sick. I do. We are at hour number 2, and this is Snowman in the Morning.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Kelly's 1-strike pitch. Swinging a fly ball, center field deep. Bellinger going back to the warning track, to the wall. It's a grand slam. Howie Kendrick has done it. They're going crazy in the Nationals dugout. Howie Kendrick with a grand slam here in the 10th inning of Game 5. The Nationals 7, the Dodgers 3. Do you believe it?
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is right at your fingertips, your earlobes, and your eyeballs. I'm Cole Johnson. My partner is convalescing. I will talk about him later on this hour. But joining me on my, I think he said left.
I'm on your left.
The other.
I'm on your left. Yes.
Joining me on my left is my man Will, aka Wise El Jefe.
Yes, sir.
And we will talk later about all of what he's about as well. Because yes, he's about the sports, as you have understood, because this guy knows his knowledge. He knows sports very well, but he knows other topics as well. And we will delve a little bit into that a little later. What I want to touch on now, and you maybe want to actually talk about this. All right, so the most fascinating show in terms of wrestling to me is the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yes.
And normally it is fascinating because the fandom wants to hijack the show just about every single Raw after WrestleMania. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw a little bit of it last night. It seemed to be different. They seem to not want to hijack. What say you?
Well, you know what? I was so used to the big surprises after the Monday night after WrestleMania, and it wasn't really nothing that besides the turn by my
doppelganger.
Yeah, by my twin. Besides that, man, it wasn't really no big surprises, man, and nothing like that really. Maybe Elias and his new look, Ezekiel, whatever.
I'm like, oh no. I feel for him. I'm like, don't ruin this guy's character.
I love the Elias character.
I love Elias too.
And yeah, so
I'm like, no, don't ruin him.
They did.
Yeah, I grimaced when I saw that. I was like, oh man. Right. But I have to say, I did not think when I first saw him years ago, and I think it was when he and his brother Dustin was inducting his father Dusty into the WWE Hall of Fame. I did not think that this man could cut the promo that he could cut, but in leading last night's Raw, Cody Rhodes. Wow.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
This is his he needed to leave.
He needed to leave AEW.
No, I mean he needed to leave WWE.
He needed to leave
WWE
the first place. Yeah,
the first time.
Yeah.
To find himself.
Yeah,
I'm saying because when he was there, everybody was like, "Oh, he's Dusty's son. They're handing it to him or whatever it was, or whatever situation, and or they're trying, or if you look at it as the thing between the McMahons and the Rhodes family, where they try to bury him with the Stardust character and all these other things.
Yeah.
So he had to leave that first time.
Yeah,
he had to go find himself, and he's built himself into a great wrestler, sports entertainer, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
He's built that brand and that character up
mm-hmm.
from the the young snot-nosed brat, dashing, undashing, whatever names you want to call them, Stardust.
Cody Rhodes.
Yes,
Stardust,
to where where he is now, the American Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
He's developed it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, Six said Elias looks weird in those tights and repackaged as Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Of course the shave was needed. Yeah. I miss the guitar. I miss him. I miss him roasting whatever city they're in.
Yeah.
I miss that. And I miss the beer too. Pause.
Like they I guess the creative couldn't find anything for him.
They must not. But I'm like, don't assassinate him. I'm like, oh man, he's gonna be dead in the water.
Yeah.
People gonna be chanting Elias when he's wrestling, just like they do Gunther, but they chant Walter.
Walter, yeah, of course.
I'm like, you're gonna no. I was like, change him back to Walter and change Ezekiel back to Elias. And if you
That's just like Butch. Like, how the hell do you change Pete Dunne's name?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. Butch.
Yeah. I'm like, Butch. He had a great character as was. Why
Pete Dunne, yes. The Bruiserweight was a great character.
I loved it. I loved it.
I think I should be writing for WWE personally.
Yeah. I'm like, and he played the character right, face or heel. I'm like, that's exactly how I want him to be. It's like, and now he's considered a knockoff Oliver Twist. I'm like,
right.
Six said, especially when Cody was teamed with Teddy DiBiase Jr. talking about he was not
legacy
and all that.
Yeah, legacy.
And legacy, yeah. And Cody says, Cody, just like Dustin, had to step out of Dusty Rhodes' shadow. Yeah, he did.
He did. Yeah.
I agree with that. And he says it's all about the trademark control and IP ownership. Man, if that's not the truth. Yeah, it is. But I don't know what to make of what's the guy's name, because they held him back for about a month.
Oh my shit! Whatever.
Veer Mahan.
What am I? Or
Veer Mahan. I don't know what to make of him. It's like, okay, so he's supposed to be a monster and all of that, but you held him back for a month.
It's been more than a month. They've repackaged.
That's right.
He's been repackaged and they've been doing snippets for vignettes for months now.
Mm-hmm.
And then his former partner is back on NXT. He's whatever his name is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But now they repackage him and he comes out and he attacks the Mysterios while the Miz was in the ring. So they might give the Miz a new bodyguard. Who knows? They always find something.
Yeah, it might be. You might be onto something. Well, so they decided to have an NXT championship match, which is strange since they had one 2 days before.
And I don't understand why they just have him win at Stand and Deliver and have him win on Raw, unless they wanted to see what kind of reaction he gets from the Raw crowd, because it is a completely different crowd from the NXT crowd and the Raw audience.
Yeah, it is. And I don't like Braun Breaker. I do. I like him. And I think his style, the way they package him, I think his style fits the main roster better.
Yes.
I just don't know if the crowd will take to him yet because I think people just have this. Well, I think it's funny how the main roster WWE universe seems to take to NXT stars. They seem to say, well, he has this NXT stench to him. And and it seems as though the WWE is in this lurch of, okay, this guy was in NXT or this woman was in NXT, and they don't change the gimmick, And it's like, okay, well, screw him or her.
But he fits their mold. Braun Breaker fits what Vince McMahon likes.
The moment I saw him, I thought that. I was like, yeah, he fits exactly how Vince wants a big man to work. I'm like, okay. He won't be he won't be in NXT for long. And I still don't think he'll be in there for long.
No, he won't be. But then you look at his bloodline though. You gotta look at his bloodline.
Yeah, his father's Rick and his uncle Scott.
Yeah, big Papa Pump. Yeah, so and he's a freak himself. You seen him flip over the rope?
Yes.
So
yes,
for a big man, he has ability.
Mm-hmm. He does.
He does things a cruiserweight does.
Right. It just happens to be 260 pounds. It's amazing. He's amazing. I like seeing him in the ring. And I think he's going to be either on Raw or SmackDown really soon. I don't know who he's going to drop the title to, but
because right now you got to look at it. Raw has nothing but heels right now.
Right.
Because you got Edge and Damian Priest. You have MVP who just turned, as Sig reminded us, MVP crossing Lashley inside of Amas.
Cool. How you doing, brother?
You have Ziggler and Rude. You have all these heels, and now I guess you have Lashley, and of course now Roman Reigns is on Raw and SmackDown being the unified champion.
Right.
So you have the bloodline. Now you have what real babyface do you have? Like now you just turn Bobby Lashley, which is good.
Yeah,
because you don't really have anyone.
Right.
Only thing is bring up Braun Breaker.
Yeah, because I think at the moment,
and now
Cody would have to be. Yeah,
and now you got Cody. Because
Yeah.
you still got Kevin Owens also heel. Seth Rollins is also heel.
Yeah, I'm thinking they may turn him face though.
Who? Seth Rollins?
Yeah,
they might.
I'd rather him work heel because he works better as a heel. But yes, and yes, and cool McCain. I love that brother. MVP is a natural heel. I totally agree. He is. Yes. He knows how to work as a face, but he's much better as a heel. Much better. He also says that Braun Breaker gives Vince wet dreams. He probably does because he looks the exact prototype of what he wants his WWE champion to look like. So yes, I agree with you. And he also goes on to say the American Nightmare. Yeah, that I believe he's not going to be your number one face, at least on the Raw. Probably period.
Well, no, what maybe he might with that contract he just signed. You never know.
He could be anywhere. Yeah, you're right.
That promo he cut. Vince might have been like, you know what? Let's give you a little run with the Universal title. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
He just came over. You got to look at it this way. It was a major coup to get him back to WWE.
It was
because now you're showing them, hey, maybe it's not so great over there at AEW. Maybe you might. So you might get a lot of more defections coming over.
Yeah. Which actually now, and I'm glad y'all are leading me in this in the comments even, which leads me to the turn of MVP on Lashley. Six says Omos will be making great strides on the MVP's mentorship, which I totally agree.
Definitely.
Cool says that let me see. I'm sorry. Cool says that the Hurt Business needs to get back together, which I totally agree with that too.
I was upset when they broke them up.
I was too.
I was upset.
I was too. And Six says there's still Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. And I would actually love to see those two pair up with Omos and MVP. I don't know if I would want to call them the Hurt Business though, but but I think a faction with them would work. I think it would. I really believe it would. Cool says it says if they were as faces, they would work with a female member. Yeah. Or you can find the right type of heel as a woman that could work too. Yeah. Yeah. 6 says Braun's a natural athlete. People forget that he played at Kennesaw State and got drafted by the Ravens. Yeah, he was he was a stud there, no question. So yes, let me get your opinion on your doppelganger. So so MVP turns on Lashley, which I sort of saw that one coming, but I'm glad that actually came because I think Omos needed a mouthpiece.
Yeah, he's not meant for the mic, so you need to have that mic presence, and MVP definitely fits that mold.
Yes, he definitely is. He definitely is. And Lashley, who's actually gotten better on the mic himself,
That's
under
why.
MVP.
So yeah, that's why you're able to do that transition, because you need Omos with MVP or someone like MVP, and it's time for Lashley to move on and cut his something similar to like Brock when you let him go from Heyman and having Heyman be his mouthpiece. Now you have MVP to do Omos, and Heyman works great with the Tribal Chief, so it's been good.
Yeah, I think that was a good lesson that we got a chance to see. Both with Heyman paired off with Roman Reigns and with MVP paired off with Lashley. It was like, okay, these, both Reigns and Lashley, they aren't horrible on the mic, but they could probably brush off a couple of things in the rest department and probably get coached a couple of good pointers, and you can see them develop with Heyman and MVP respectively. And yeah, now each guy could go on their own, and we're actually seeing that now with Lashley. So I agree with that. Cool says, bro, I thought you had MVP on it first. Oh man. 6 says Omos is going to need a good tail if he's going to roll with MVP. Yes, he will need that, and I'm sure that he will hook him up.
I'm probably sure they got that all lined up already.
I'm sure he does too. I'm sure he does too. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. So what did you think about Reigns holding up both the Universal and WWE championships and having his first promo since winning it?
He got a pretty good promo. He got a pretty good promo. I don't want them to go because everybody's talking about Drew McIntyre's coming up. They've done that, been there, done that. Let's bring something else. Let's maybe bring Braun back. Bring Braun Breaker. Do something different because he's on God mode.
That sort of actually fits him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on God mode, and I'm loving that character. But you just gotta find the right fit. I don't think Drew McIntyre will be the right fit right now.
Yeah, I mean, because I'll put it this way: I don't think you'll do Drew's character any good feeding him to Roman like how they used to feed the heels to Hogan.
Yeah,
where you would build them up and build them up and build them up just for Hogan to squash them.
Yeah.
McIntyre would be built up and built up and built up. They'll feed him to Roman, but Roman is going so good, you do not want to stop the train, and you're basically going to feed him to Roman. I don't want that for him either.
Yeah.
The only time I'd want to see Drew meet up with Roman would be if you're actually going to flirt with switching the title off of him.
Yeah.
And I don't see the WWE coming even close to doing that anytime soon. And they shouldn't, because I think the best thing they have rolling is Roman Reigns, with Cody coming after him. I
like that. I like that. I like that idea of, and again, now you're pitting the Samoan legacy, and you have Roman talking about their dynasty, and then you have Cody talking about his family legacy and dynasty. It just fits.
Yeah. And if the thought process wasn't that they probably want to pair Roman off with Rock next WrestleMania, I would say, man, they should start the program, a slow build between those two to next year's WrestleMania's main event.
Yeah.
I would think that way, but I'm thinking that they want to go in a different direction. All right, your opinion about Bianca Belair?
I love the ESC.
I fell in love with her,
and then I
when
fell
she
in
was
love
back
with
in
NXT. Yeah,
Yeah.
NXT. She was the EST of NXT.
Yeah.
Now she's the EST of Raw.
Mm-hmm. She was just so different, and I loved how she just has this character where she reminds me of the athletes that you want to see. She has the confidence to do anything athletically, and she proves that she has all these gifts. And oh, by the way, she has personality. Oh, and oh, by the way, she can actually talk.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, she can pull whatever athletic feat that you ask her to do.
Definitely.
I'm like, this woman is sick.
Yeah.
This woman's absolutely sick. All right. Probably besides a rematch with Becky so they can actually blow them off. Where would you want to see her go next?
Ooh, that's a good question. Like, who's like, I don't think her and Ronda Rousey is a good fit. They're not a good.
No,
they're not a good fit.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good question. But Rhea Ripley, her and Rhea Ripley, they tore it up in NXT. Why not tear it up on Raw?
I know they'll eventually do it. I want to save them for like a big card.
Yeah, because you can already see that Rhea Ripley is about to dump Liv Morgan.
You saw that too. That's what I'm thinking.
So it's time. I guess it's time to bring Rhea Ripley back to being a singles monster and competitor. Because come on, those two are the future of that division,
without question. Yeah, those two along with Raquel Gonzalez.
I love Raquel Gonzalez.
Huge.
Yeah, I love Raquel Gonzalez.
From the moment I laid eyes on Raquel, fan. I'll cop to it. Fan.
But I have to give Mandy Rose props.
I do
She
too.
has evolved
Whoa.
in NXT. She has evolved and made a great heel.
The best move she ever could make.
Yes, that move right there saves her career.
Mm-hmm.
And doing Toxic Attraction and doing that they've actually got something right.
Yes, they did. They did. And she made it, and it was a big risk for her. She's like, okay, look, I'll make the huge commitment. I'll get off of the main brands. I'll go to NXT. I'll even dye my hair brunette. I'll do this. And who knew that she would blossom the way that she has? Yeah. She's awesome. And yes, they have the title on the right woman in the NXT. God, I love her. And yes, Toxic Attraction, I love the group too. They are so easy to hate, and they do a wonderful job making you want to have somebody slap the taste out their mouths.
Yeah.
They do a great job. I love that faction.
Definitely.
6 says, speaking of Roman Reigns and the bloodline, I'm curious if they'll expand their ranks. There's Solo Sikoa, who every time I see him, the crowd always wants to chant, "Ooh, every time." And I find that hilarious. Who's also Uso's younger brother, who comes to mind, but he needs to stay in the NXT 2.0 and grow. I agree.
He still needs some work on the mic. But he is talented in the ring.
Yes, in the ring,
he is
in the ring. He
talented
already
in the
has
ring.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. In the ring, he already has it. But yes,
it's just the promo work. He's got to work on the promo work, and he's working on that slowly but surely. But
yeah,
you never know. The bloodline might eventually, when he's ready, they might add to their ranks.
Yeah, I can see them doing that. I can easily see them doing that, and I can see them doing the storyline with that where Jay or Jimmy would try to ask Roman if they want to add another cousin to the ranks, or their brother to the ranks. Yeah, I can see them doing that. 6 says Mandy's step back has paid dividends. Yes,
it has.
100. Ah, man, I could just continue to talk about this, but we have to take a small pause for the cause. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the National League since we're 2 days away from opening day. It sounds good to say.
Opening day, 2 days away.
Yeah. And just a little bit more in the NBA. Be right back.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
If you can celebrate Christian McCaffrey having a 1,000 season, if you can celebrate Marshall Faulk, who had a 1,000 season by electing him into the Hall of Fame, then why can't we celebrate the guy who originated the 1,000 season with a Hall of Fame election? I'm talking about the one and only Roger Craig.
If you want some, come get some.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
And down the stretch we come on another wonderful edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I'm Cole. This
laugh.
That's Wise El Jefe, aka MVP, to the chat, and And Sick before we went to break said another one that comes to mind is the in the joining the bloodline would be Manu, aka Alpha Jr. And I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about him. Yeah, and yes, Cool is correct. Wrestling has more than one royal family. They have plenty of royal families. I mean, heck, the Samoan bloodline has more than just one line. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the Wild Samoan bloodline with Alpha and Sika.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Maivia bloodline with The Rock and Nia Jax and stuff. And
right.
And yeah, but they all one. They all consider themselves one tribe.
Yeah, they do.
With the High Chief Peter Maivia being the forefather of all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then oh man, you got the Flairs. Well, just Charlotte and Rick, really, but
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got to think about the Wyndhams.
Yeah, the Anoa'i family. Yeah. The Wyndhams. Mm-hmm.
They're a big part, especially and Wyndham Rotunda, because it's a combination of the both now with Bray and Bo Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Not Bo Buchanan. Bo Dallas.
Bo Dallas.
Yes, Bo Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. Great toss. All right. Switching gears. Let's talk Major League Baseball for a quick second. So I know this excites you. The very first game that will receive the very first pitch of the 2022 season will be in Yankee Stadium. First pitch will be 1:05 Eastern. And of course, they play their hated rivals, the Red Sox.
Well, it's the Red Sox, yes.
And the $324 million man, Garrett Cole, takes the hill. Now,
yes, he does.
Now, what are your immediate hopes for the Yankees?
Okay, all right. So every year we go with expectations that it's championships or bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always we go in with the expectation that we're going to win it every year.
Mm-hmm.
But me being the realist that I am, I know that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it all depends, man. Injuries play a big part in seasons. Like the Mets were already supposed to win the World Series with the pickups they made, and now look, you lose DeGrom probably for a few months. Scherzer's not doing too well. So for me, it's a couple of injuries on some other teams, and I don't wish anyone injuries, but the season is long, so I'm just worried that we don't have enough pitching. That's where my concern is, because we have plenty of bats. But after Garrett Cole, what do we have as besides our bullpen? Our bullpen is always good.
Yeah,
I'm not really worried about the bullpen.
Right,
it's starting pitching.
That's probably my concern with the Yankees. Is that they got enough arms in the bullpen, and they have their ace. It's worrying about starters 2 through 5 in the regular season and 2 through 4 when you come to the playoffs. That to me is that to me would be the main concern. But it's kind of cool that the first game of the year I will say the first baseball game of the year actually will reside in New York, which is kind of interesting. Normally it would be, or at least when we were growing up, it used to be Cincinnati would be the first game that they would play, and they would start actually in the morning, I think, and then the rest of the games will start earlier afternoon, and then of course they have the sliding cascading of games starting from early afternoon to the early evening. But we get to have Yankee Stadium be the place where we say the 2022 season officially starts. So yes, it is wonderful that we get to talk about baseball once again. And we talked about the American League yesterday. Let's delve into the National League today.
Yes.
All right, so we'll begin with the champs, the Braves. Now they lost Freeman. That was a huge loss, but they replenished him.
Yes. Which is, you know what? You know, the Braves aren't even in the top 5 for MLB.com's power rankings.
That's crazy.
Not even the top 5.
That's crazy.
The top five were who was it? I know it was Toronto was in the 2. Number 1 was who was number 1? Oh man. I can't even remember who was number 1. But I know Toronto was number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the Rays were 3rd or 4th. They had two AL East teams, and none of them were the Yankees or the Red Sox. But the Yankees were ranked 6. Oh man, the Dodgers were second.
Yeah, I figured they would be high.
Yeah, Blue Jays were 3rd. Devil Rays were 4th. Who the hell was number 1? I know team that made some big splashes, and it's not the Mets. The Mets, I don't even think the Mets were the top 10 except for the Grom's injury. But I gotta figure that out.
Well, okay. Well, we are in the East, so all right. So you talk about DeGrom. The Mets also have issues if Max Scherzer is going to start too. So
yeah. If he's gonna start off injured.
I don't think I've ever seen a team so snake bitten in the Mets. Seriously, I don't think I've ever seen a team so snake bitten.
And it's funny, man. It's so funny because the Mets fans have this hatred towards Yankees fans, right? Towards Yankees, because they have that little brother complex,
right?
Exactly. But then everybody thinks that the Yankee fans hate the Mets so much. Not so much. We hate the Red Sox a little. We hate the Red Sox more than we hate them. But yeah, listen. At least they have an owner now that's willing to spend money. What can I say? They have an owner willing to spend money now.
Is that a straight big up to the Mets, or is that a slight to your Yankees?
Oh no! I'm not. There's no slight to the Yankees. It's a slight to the Wilpons who never.
Oh yeah, they were
who would not spend any money for the Mets.
You're right.
Like,
you're right.
You're like in one of the top markets,
right?
And you don't want to spend no money. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. To me, in the NL East, sorry, the Braves basically stood pat. Other than seeing Freeman go and they replaced him, I really don't see the Braves being unseated in the NL East. I actually think they're still the best team in the division. The Marlins are, the Mets are, the Phillies don't really do anything for me, and the Nationals, they're so hit and miss. It's not even funny. So I just don't see any other team in the East that makes me say, oh yeah, the Braves need to be scared for their divisional lives. I just don't see it. Let's see the Central. All right, I have where I work. I have a manager who's a Pirates fan. I have a co-worker who is a Reds fan. And I smile when I say that I'm glad both teams absolutely circle the drain. Not that I hate my coworkers. I love them both. And my manager, I love them both actually. But I find it hilarious that these two teams are just the Cardinals. Well, I think they'll ride the fortunes of Albert Pujols returning, and they'll probably compete. But I don't think they will make too much noise.
Okay. So, all right. So this is the official top 5 power rankings.
Shoot.
The Dodgers, number 1.
I can see that.
Blue Jays, number 2. White Sox, number 3.
That will make our partner Snow real happy.
The Brewers, number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5, Tampa Bay.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned the Brewers because I was going to say the Cubs. I think they could compete, but I think they would compete more for wild card status, if anything.
Listen, the Cubs aren't even ranked in the top 20.
Yeah, it's like if they compete for anything, it'll probably wild card, but I don't see them doing that. The Brewers, it is like with the White Sox, arms, and more arms. It's just ridiculous how many pitchers they got on their staff. I'm like, dang, you have pitchers to spare, and you still could win. You can still win 100 games.
They have potential now. If their offense can live up to what it's supposed to do, they'll be dangerous.
They would be. There would be, and that's the Achilles heel. They can hold teams. They can hold offenses to have the bats be quiet, but the problem is their bats can be quiet far too often.
Yes, they can really go in slumps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where they could be had, and that's definitely how they were had last year. The arms were impressive, but the bats were silent and stone cold.
And that starts with their former MVP, Christian Yelich.
Yep. Yeah, his bat has to be warm, and if they can follow suit with him, cool. And if he actually can be that spark, then yes, I could see the Brewers being very dangerous.
Yeah,
and I can actually see them actually coming out the National League. Do I think they will? No, because I personally think it's going to be one of the teams in the NL West, but not the Diamondbacks, not the Rockies, and not the Padres. It will either be the Dodgers if they can get their pitching up to snuff, or the Giants if they can get their bats up to snuff too.
Well, the top 10 is round off with the Yankees at 6, your Astros at 7.
I can see that.
Atlanta at 8, San Fran at 9, and San Diego at 10.
They got a lot of good youth in San Diego.
But do they have the pitching? Do they have the pitching?
Right. Yeah, I just don't see them. Yeah, I just don't see them pitching wise competing. Now, of course, I hope I'm wrong, but man, they got a lot of talent. With the best, they got a lot of talent.
Listen, you have Manny Machado, you have Fernando Tatis Jr., you have the second baseman Jake Cronenworth, whatever his name is. First base, they had Hosmer, but they picked somebody else up. Who was it they picked up?
Shoot, I can't remember. That's a good question. I can't.
It was a big pickup for them at first base. Anyway, then they have the pitching. So they have a pretty good catcher that hits as well. They have a young core. Their outfield is pretty good.
Right.
They got some real good players.
Yeah. 6 says the Mets are to reflect the pride of Queens. I will let you handle that, sir, since you know the boroughs a lot better than I do.
The Mets are the pride of Queens. They are. Like they're big in Queens. Like outside of Queens, not so much. But yeah. But I know you get a few sprinkled here and there throughout the city, but it's definitely a Yankee city.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I know the Mets play in Queens. I know. The reason why I know is because when I was younger, I wanted to know what airport that doggone Shea Stadium was near, because I kept getting sick of every 10, 15 minutes hearing.
Yeah,
and of course I learned it was LaGuardia. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man. All right. So in my opinion, I really believe that it's going to be either the Giants or the Dodgers that come out of the National League in general. It's just, to me, which team will have all of their parts clicking more. That to me is my answer. You know, if the pitching doesn't go south on the Dodgers long enough, or if the Giants' bats don't go silent long enough, you know, that to me is where I see who is going to come out of the National League. Now I might be wrong, but that's how I see it.
But this is what we're here for, to make those predictions.
Yeah.
Not always correct. Who
Right.
knows? But
yeah, you're right.
The season is long. This is 162 games.
Yeah.
Injuries happen.
Yeah.
So the Giants can be an injury away to the Dodgers to just running away with the division, or the same vice versa, or this year, who knows? Maybe the Washington comes back and surprises everybody in the NL East.
True. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they did have like a surprise year in 2019. They could have another one of those types of seasons. They do have the talent. It's just for some reason they just can't put it all together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you there. And of course, Dodgers and Giants treated us to a wonderful 5-game NLDS series last year, and each team won over 100 games. So yeah, you're right. I mean, if both teams are being healthy, it's fine. And I think they probably will do the same thing, and it might be reversed. Or if an injury takes place, then more than likely will not be the same. But yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll see in 6 months if that is true. But yeah, how I see it now, I think the National League will be represented either by the Giants or the Dodgers.
Yeah.
All right, now we will close up shop with the NBA. So now we are exactly 1 week away from when we will tip off in the play-in round. And the way I see it, I really believe that a lot of people are wishing, I'll start with the West first. I think a lot of teams are wishing for the Lakers to actually have a Lazarus moment, just basically be risen from the dead, take over, find their way in the play-in game, find their way to win their play-in game to get into the playoffs.
That would just be Laker fans, because me personally, I know, not me personally. I guess you talking about Lakers fans are hoping they get resurrected, because me personally, not really.
No,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but like what people you talking about? Laker fans? Yeah, they're probably over there praying to whoever they pray that their team could turn it around, but I don't see it happening.
I don't either. I really don't. I mean, right now they currently the Lakers sit 2 games behind the Spurs for the 10th slot. And if they were to tie with the Spurs, they still wouldn't get the Lakers still wouldn't get in. They have to actually have a better record than the Spurs outright.
Yeah.
This is for you, Brian. For Lakers fan that actually thinks that they can actually come up, be in the play-in round, actually win their play-in game, and then beat the Suns in the first round of the NBA playoffs this year.
Euphoria.
It's just I just don't see it. I don't. But I find it hilarious that I'm hearing people say that. And I mentioned on this show last week I was invited on it was a Lakers fan show, but I was invited on this show, and I basically said to him, similar to what we're talking about now. I said, no, look, you would be best to have LeBron pack it up and AD pack it up. Just have to say, look, sit out for the rest of the year, like you did LeBron 2019. Pull the same thing off now. Have them sit and then say, we'll see you in October, because they will not make the playoffs. And so the host of the show is basically saying, no, I see them actually beating the Suns in 6. Not even give them 7 games. I see them beating the Suns in 6 games, he said. So
you gotta be in the playoffs to beat anybody.
That's what I was thinking, right? So I said, look, the best ability is availability. This team is the most unavailable in terms of health that you have in the league. Maybe I would probably say the most unavailable in the league. They just are not healthy at all. And then when they're together, they just don't play cohesively. So I just don't see it. So of course now I have this standing invite that once the Lakers beat the Suns in the first round, that I have to eat humble pie.
Right.
I'm like, no.
We'll see this. We'll see. But I don't see it happening. I don't see them. Yeah,
Right.
I don't see them making it. Definitely don't.
I don't either.
Because I have a friend at work. He's what do y'all call them? Bronzexuals? Is that what y'all call them?
The obsessive LeBron James fans are bronzexuals. Yes.
Yes. He follows LeBron to every single team. So I would class him as a bronzexual. I actually, when LeBron signed with the Lakers, I sent him the that fan form, a bandwagon form. Yeah. He didn't like it that much. He didn't appreciate that so much. But yeah. Yeah, shut it down, man. Just shut it down. Like just
yeah.
You're not playing for anything. As much as I love my man Melo, he made a bad choice going to
LA.
To LA.
Yeah.
He just made the team get older. And I love my boy Melo, but that team is not. You gave away Kyle Kuzma, who helped you win a title.
Thank you.
Helped you win a title for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. How much sense does that make? Right. Right. Now,
because you thought Brody was gonna come in and be a triple double machine.
And the thing is, he does the same. His game is similar to LeBron's. Only he's 6 inches shorter. I'm like, I just don't understand it. I really don't. And 6 says, however, let's wait and see. Perhaps the Lakers might surprise folks, as unlikely as it is. Sick.
Sick. I need some of that. I need some of that. All I gotta say is sick is I need some of that.
I love you, bro. But this isn't directed to you, sir, because you're my boy. But for those who do think that, because I don't think you think that's sick, but for those who do think that, Brian, this is for you too.
Bitch, please.
All right, so currently in the West, the Timberwolves are 7, the Clippers are 8. They would play together. They would play each other. The Timberwolves will host it. The Pelicans and the Spurs are fighting for 9 and 10. Currently, the Pelicans would host the Spurs. Now, the Timberwolves have their eyes set on getting out of the play-in and just basically getting the playoffs, period. But they are a game and a half from the Jazz, who sit in the 6th spot now. And the Jazz are a half a game behind the Nuggets, who sit in 5th. So the Timberwolves, even though it's a scant amount of games left, they may be in the 7.
It's not looking too good for them.
It's not looking too good. They actually may be in 7, but they can't go any lower than 7. So they'll host a play-in. Actually, they'll host 2. If they were to lose the first one. Yeah.
Well, no, if they lose the first one, they're gone, aren't they?
No. Here's how it works. So in the play-in, 7 plays 8, 9 plays 10. So if whoever wins the 7-8 matchup, they advance and go into playoffs. The loser of that matchup hosts the winner of the 9-10 matchup, because whoever loses the 9-10 matchup is gone. The winner of that one plays the loser of the 7-8. And then the winner of that is the 8 seed. The winner of the 7-8 game is the 7th seed.
Okay.
That's how that works.
So whoever's the 8th seed has 2 chances. They have 2 opportunities. Okay.
Right. And as I'm saying, if the Timberwolves lose the first, they'll host the second too. So yeah, that's why I say that. In the East, I will refrain from my co-host's favorite team. I will not mention it. it's unfortunate, but in the play-in rounds, it would be the Cavaliers hosting the Hawks at the moment. More than likely, I can see the Cavs basically not reaching up to unseat the Bulls or the Raptors because they're 2.5 games behind both of those teams. So it'd be the Cavs hosting the Hawks if the season were to end today. And the Hornets and Nets, they have the same record, but the Hornets hold the tiebreaker because they just keep beating the Nets. So the Hornets would host the Nets. And at current, the the Nets would probably need to win twice to get in.
To get in, what they have to win
get in the
both games.
Yeah, they have to win the 9-10, and then they have to win the next game too.
Listen, any team with Kevin Durant, I do not doubt.
Oh, I don't either.
I don't put no doubt in. But if they lose, I won't be crying at night. So,
oh yeah, I'm with you. That. Just like you, I'm not a Nets fan either. 6 says it's cool. It's cool at Cole Sports. I think we should all just leave the Bronx section to the collective demise. They want to learn the hard way. Ooh, man. Oh, sick.
Damn!
Good one. Good one. Good one. I agree with you. And I also agree with you too, Wise. Any team that has Durant on it, I give them a puncher's chance. They can do some things because we saw when we just saw him recently against the Hawks, even though he was in defeat, he dropped 55. So this guy, he can get hot and catch fire at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, if the season were to end today, the Cavaliers will host the Hawks, the Hornets will host the Nets. Of course, the loser of the 19 would bounce. And the winner of the 9-10 will advance and be the road team for whoever loses the 7-8 matchup. And if I were to make a prediction, if the season were to end today, if I were to make a prediction, I would say that I think the Timberwolves will be the 7th seed, and I actually think the Pelicans will be the 8. That's why I'm leaning toward that in the West. I think Timberwolves will be 7. I think the Pelicans will be the 8. Because I think they'll be able to come out of it. I think the Pelicans can pull 2 wins out their hats to get in the playoffs. I really believe that. In the East, I think the Hawks will be 7, and I think the Nets will be 8. I just don't see. I don't see the Hornets beating the Nets again. And the Cavs had a wonderful run, but I think their motor is shot. I think they're now, as Tom Petty used to say, free falling right now. And I think they shot their best shot, and they had a really good season. They can chalk it up to having a good season, and they can prepare to be a better team next year. That's how I see it. You?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I like I said, any team with Kevin Durant, I think they can pull off the 2 wins to get into it. Are they going to win it all? Not. I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't think they have. Even if Ben Simmons was to come back after the playing games, I still don't think it would help.
Oh yeah. Oh, and on a side note, Ben Simmons, you actually want $20 million to come into your pocket for you not playing one single game for the 76ers. Really?
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's what he wants.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. 6 says that you can't expect full-time effort from a part-time player like Kyrie Irving. Well, I agree with you, 6. I don't expect that either. And he showed it. He showed it in the said game that I just mentioned on the road in Atlanta, where Durant was the hot hand, yet Kyrie ended up with the most shots on the team. And it wasn't surprising that the Nets walked away from Philadelphia with an L. He said, "Oh no, not Tom Petty. That's cold." Oh man. All right, so we have come to the end of the show, but before we do go, tell the folks what you do, sir. I mean, you have Real Wise TV, and you do a lot of wonderful things, and you speak on many different issues. Just break the people off with the knowledge that you have.
All right. Well, I have my podcast, Stuck in My Mind podcast, which is on all major platforms. And I just, this past September, I just launched it as well on YouTube. And I just went over 3,000 subscribers on there. So check it out. I launched Real Wise Radio, which Snowman in the Morning is the flagship show right now, with leading the morning rush for us, and we're trying to grow and build that up as well. And Real Wise Productions, which is us trying to help other people who want to get into podcasting but don't want to do all the heavy lifting. They just want to come in and sit down and record and don't want to do anything else. That's what we're here to provide, that service.
Well, see, that's why I'm growing to really like this gentleman over here. Like I said, I know him as well, but I like the baseball closer's name that he has for a nickname. Wise El Jefe. I like that. Oh man, I really hate to go, but we got to break out of here. I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody. And for my friend Wise El Jefe, I am Cole Johnson. And my man Brian says hello to all of you. He says, keep it up. He loves you all. He's doing well. He's healing up quite nicely. Of course, he's a little weak with the surgery, but he's coming through just fine. He's coming through exactly the way we intended. And he will be back alongside of me in no time. Take care, everybody. God bless. And just remember, make your next move your best move. And always remember, if dreams don't scare you, then they're just simply not big enough.
Yep.
Dream big, do bigger. You just heard Mr. Wise El Jefe. He definitely is doing it. I'm doing it. So is Brian. I hope you all are too. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. And we are out.